Hey, it's Kim here with Lead Generation Source, and I just want to know if you can hear me and see my screen. And it looks like, Linda, you're the only one so far because it's a weird time. It looks like it's telling me everything's on here, so hopefully you can hear me and see me. Okay, I'm going to give it just another minute or so, see if anybody can tell me if they can see my screen or hear me, and hear me, ideally both. Hmm. Hi, Joanne, can you see my screen and hear me? Oh, good, good. Okay, my computer keeps doing a little squirrel wheel, so hopefully this will hold. It has absolutely something to do with the platform, but the fact that we're connected is a good sign. Okay, so there's a couple people on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to try to keep this not too long. Hi, Linda. Okay, so this is the Lead Generation Source Wednesday weekly webinar, and we're working on driving traffic and generating leads. And this week we're focusing on Facebook and Twitter. So let's recap a little bit over the last prior weeks. We have talked about search engine optimization, and that includes on-page search engine optimization and off-page. So our on-page helps us define our page for the search engines and possibly even Facebook for ads, which we're still kind of testing. And that's really the schema. So I know everybody here who's here has already heard this, so this is just for the replay. Then off-site search engine optimization includes creating backlinks that act as kind of like a vote for our site. And then, of course, the keywords that we've identified. So while off-site search engine optimization does create backlinks, it also helps us drive traffic back to our site. So this is kind of like a double reward because traffic is good for search engine optimization and we want traffic. And even though everything we're going to be doing from here on out is going to be related to search engine optimization and will help with search engine optimization, each one of these strategies are standalone strategies for driving traffic. So when you get a little overwhelmed and you're like, oh, hey, I can't do it all, that's okay, because while each one helps with search engine optimization, and if you did literally the bare minimum, that would be enough for search engine optimization to give you a link back, right? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to look at each one as being, okay, which ones do we want to expand on and we can dive into. So if you get to one where you're like, oh, hey, I hate this platform and I don't want to do it, it's okay. You can just skip it that week, or just set up the profile and do the bare minimum. And we'll talk more about that with each one of these as we go. And keep in mind, this is being recorded. So if you need to go back and watch it again when we do this, that's okay, because I'm going to kind of go a little fast today. So building links and driving traffic, we can't control it all. So let's work on what we can control, right? So social media is a critical component of driving traffic, and we can control at least the parts of social media, setting up our accounts and releasing the information. So let's review the top social media channels we discussed last week. And those are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+, Instagram, and YouTube. And we have discussed YouTube in prior weeks, but we're going to dive into specific strategies, additional strategies on YouTube that can help keep people like on your videos and stuff. So not this week though. This week we're just going to focus on Facebook and Twitter, and even then it's going to be more on Twitter than anything. But I'm going to go over some of the important elements of Facebook, because we've only talked about like one or two, right? So Facebook, there are several ways you can create a presence. So you're going to create your social media presence and drive traffic from Facebook. Of course, paid ads is the one that everybody talks about. And we've talked about this in the past, and we've talked about how there's been changes, significant changes. And even now, it's really hard to do this without a significant budget, unless, of course, you have a converting product and it's popular. Then you pretty much throw out an ad and it works. That is very uncommon. So we're going to look at some of the free ways we can do this, because paid ads are, not always the most effective way to do it. So of course your Facebook business page, and this is your fan page. There's a lot of different names to this, but it's basically, it's the page that you've set up for, and I guess we're going to talk about this in detail. Let me just go through them. Facebook business page, your Facebook personal page, Facebook groups, Facebook live streaming, and Facebook Messenger. So let's break those down a little bit better. So your business page, your fan page, brand page, these are all called the same thing. And that's basically where your business has the public Facebook face. That's where it's your fan page. So sometimes people will have multiple and sometimes they'll just have one. You should fully complete the entire profile, go through the settings and everything else, and make sure you share your links, of course, to your products on your public fan page as you post them. That's how you get a link back for each individual product. In your settings and in your profile, there should be a main URL that you can put in there. And since we have Trex people on here, I'm going to say that may not be something you want to put your main URL at. You don't have to. There are no rules that say that URL has to go to a specific place, right? So what you might do is if you have your highest converting product or an opt-in page, like you have a discount page, let's say you're like, oh, hey, this is what are about us and here, save 10% by signing up. You might want to put that instead of a shop now button. And you can still have your shop now button if you have one, if you're focusing on one. But what tends to happen in e-commerce is that you drive them back to a single page and it's too unfocused. And so unless you are focusing on a specific product or a specific action, you're going to get like a small percentage of people that are going to actually take action by they may click on your shop now page, but they're not going to buy anything because they don't even know what they're shopping for, right? So you have to look and see what your strategy is. And for the most part, I think what we need to shift, because Trex is hard because they can't shop around on your site unless you set it up that way, and that's hard. So like in regular e-commerce, that's what happens. So if you're in, like, say, real estate, or you're in well, let's go with real estate. So if you're in real estate, for example, you may not want that to go back to your homepage. You may want that to go into a, like a learn more button, or you have in your profile, you could have the link go back to the, hey, contact me for, and I see a lot of this, and it's a little bit watered down now, but it's, get a home appraisal, or do a home search, sign up and get a home search. And I've seen that a lot. But what you might want to do instead, if you're in say a niche like real estate, is say, oh, hey, here are the top 10 things you need to do in order to sell your house. If you're focused more as a selling agent. If you're more of a buyer agent, you might have 10 things you need to look for when you're buying houses, something like that, depending on what your specific niche is or your specific goal is. And any of them will work, but you probably want to drive them back to an action where you can get their information. That's going to be the key of that. But any link back is, if you're like, oh, hey, I'm really not into that, I just want the link back, just get the link back in there. Just, get your URL back to your site. So that's your fan page, your business page, what you want to do on there. So on your fan page and business page, you can also reply to the comments. And I know Linda does this a lot. So that helps re-engage people. And of course, we've talked about this before. You can use bots to do that as well. So you can also do this in groups, for comments in groups, obviously. We do that in our group all the time. But groups. Now, Linda, I've kind of been thinking about you a lot on groups because you are so active on your page. You could actually shift your activeness into a group instead if you wanted to. This is a lot of work, and I'm going to talk about that too. So if you're in a niche that has passionate participants, and I'm actually in several Beagle groups. Now, the reason why I actually do not participate in them anymore is because everybody posts pictures of their dogs that just died, and it made me too sad. I joined them to be happy and look at beagles that I can no longer have because I'm allergic to them. And now I can't even enjoy the pictures because I read the part that says, rest in peace, insert dog name, and it makes me so sad. So I stopped. You have living dogs on your site. Exactly, yeah. And for the most part, if people keep that, and people in these groups were actually commenting about that. I never made the comment. I just stopped getting into the groups and looking at this stuff and engaging, because I got tired of it. But people came in and started posting other stuff saying, hey, everybody's talking about their dogs that have died. You know, I'm so sorry for your loss, but hopefully this will help cheer everybody up. And they were very nice about it, and they started posting other stuff as well. So I know I wasn't the only one that noticed that. But something you can do is start a group. And there's a couple of pros and cons with this, of course, is that this is a great way to build your brand with loyal followers. But the catch is that if they're passionate about the niche, they may not be passionate about whatever you're selling, right? So you kind of have to look around and look and see on what the groups are that are in there. But another thing with groups is that it is a possible, we don't know, this has not been tested, but it's a possible way to bypass Facebook's lack of notifications. That was their announcement in January or whatever, that the pages are no longer going to have as much of a reach as they used to. So they didn't say anything about groups. So we don't know how groups are going to play out, but I get lots of notifications from the groups that I'm in. So I anticipate that the groups are not going to be as affected as pages. So that is one way if you start seeing your reach drop, which we don't know when that's going into effect. Some people argue it's now. Some people say I haven't seen a difference. And of course, Facebook's probably testing this all over the place. So some people may see a difference and some people may not. But if you're like, oh, hey, I have really low reach and the activities like dropped off on my page or something, you might look at starting a group that's linked to your page, by the way. Sorry. So of course, one of the big pitfalls with groups is that it does take a lot of time. There's no real way. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, you can do bots for this, and I don't think there is. Yeah, I mean, no, it wouldn't be jump off your fan page, Linda. It would be you invite them to participate in the group. So on the fan page, you're really the one that controls it. But in a group, and this is kind of one of the cons with this too, in a group, you have to you allow people to post more and get engaged more. So you can still have significant control over it, but you can pretty much do the same thing on a page. I'm just saying you would basically shift your efforts into a group and let people come in and engage more, and you can make it I don't want to say secret group. You don't want to make it a secret group. You want to make it usually a private group, so that way it encourages people to join rather than just come and browse and then leave, right? You want them to come in and be a part of the group. So you make it a private group, you have to approve them, and that's a good way to minimize the spam as well. And you can either, like, I think on K&K, I make it so you guys can post whatever you want. But in the lead generation source, because it's open to everybody, I don't have I have to approve the posts. And I may have taken that off. I can't remember. Yeah, so yeah, you're an admin, but yeah, people can post more. Exactly. So there's supposed to be a lot more engagement in that. And the nice thing is that as the admin of the group, you get to control the content. So if you want to post a link out, you can. The catch with that is that if you may get a lot of people who are coming in to try to spam too. That's a big thing right now, is the groups. So again, like I said, there's pros and cons to each one of them, but that is a way to get more traffic for free, because that's just your time and effort. And if you're passionate about it and you're going to do it anyway, then it definitely might be something that's worth it. So those are just some considerations on groups. Now let's talk about your personal page. Yeah, you could do that, definitely, Linda. You could sell on the fan page and then let them know in their group. And in fact, to expand on that, that's actually a really good idea, because again, we're talking about how our page has less reach, right? So if in the group you don't have that reach, instead of selling that to them in the group and have people leaving max access because they don't want to be sold to, you can post in there and say, hey guys, don't forget about the page. Don't forget to check out the page. We've got some good posts about some of our new products. Give us some feedback on there. Help us spread the word. We're a small company. You can basically guilt trip your group, right? So you guilt trip your group into helping engage your page so that you get better reach. So and people will do it if you're not asking them to actually buy. Because here's the thing, same thing with friends and family. And this is actually going to the personal page. Friends and family usually are like, oh man, I don't want somebody to ask me. And you don't want to ask your friends and family to buy. Usually most people are like that. And so, and they're like, well, I don't want people to ask me to buy unless of course it's really good. And then if you have a really good stock inside tip, your friends and family are like, why did you not tell me that? So it's got to be really good before they want it. But if you're asking them, well, I'm not asking you to buy, I'm asking you to spread the word, right? So that's what you're asking your group. Hey, and if they happen to buy, that's great. But I would say if you want to keep people in your group, you don't want to hard sell to them all the time, because that's going to be tough to keep people in your group. But keep it related to the niche and keep it, about the passion. And that's going to be one way that you can help drive that engagement on your page posts to improve that reach. So nobody's tested that fully. People have talked about it, said that's a hypothetical. That was the first thing I talked about when they announced that. I was like, oh, well, that's because they're trying to push groups. And I actually saw the group push from Facebook several months ago. And that's part of why I was like, okay. And I actually started a group that I never did anything with before I got involved with Trex. And that was because I saw the need for groups. I just didn't have any idea what I was doing. And then I learned more, of course. So your Facebook personal page, this is where you can bug your family and friends, of course. This is where, Facebook has said, oh, by the way, we are going to increase the number of posts you're seeing from your family and friends and decrease from pages, right? Which means that we have to rely more on our personal page to help spread the word. Now, and that's that recent Facebook announcement that they made. So you might want to consider at least an occasional post. If you have one product and that's all you're selling, you don't have to post like every day to your Facebook page. In fact, I wouldn't post to your personal page. I wouldn't post all that often at all. I would do your normal activity on a regular basis, and maybe once a week throw a post out there and ask people to share it. And you might want to see when that's the best time to do. Yeah, you should. Yeah. No, I don't know. To be honest, I think, Joanne, I think you, me, Linda, those of us that are in this, that have our own pages might think that, but the average person who doesn't have a business page has no idea that the person that responded is that. Because 99% of the time, I don't respond on all of mine. Like, I don't put a comment on all of mine, mostly because I'm lazy. I should, because that helps with the engagement, right? I should have my sister doing it. I should have my dad doing it. I should have my mother-in-law doing it. I should have my husband doing it. They're all supporting me anyway. And if all I'm asking them to do is, hey, comment on this, that's what I should be doing. I should be sending them all a text saying, get on my page and comment and reply and, love it and share it. And just so that we get that engagement. But, I don't, because I have a bunch going on. But that is something that we should be doing. And so as business owners, we know that. But as the normal person who goes and looks on Facebook, they don't know. They have no idea. Right? In fact, I would say that 90% of the average person who doesn't have a business page, so the average consumer, they look at a post or they look at a page and they think it's a business, and they don't consciously relate that as to somebody owning it. Right, Linda? So you look at a page and you're like, that's a business. You don't look at that as a person. And that's something that in our society, our culture, we do that. We've actually kind of taught ourselves to do this in school and everything, is that, look, a corporation, if they get in trouble, who gets blamed? Nobody. They might fire a CEO and hire a new CEO. We have cultivated this whole concept of the business being its own entity. And so as long as you haven't announced that you're the owner of the page, they're never going to know if you're commenting on it. They're just going to think that you're the most active person on there, right? And if other people start commenting as well, then it's just going to be like a little community. So, Joanne, I think commenting and especially liking it. I mean, if you don't want to comment on all of them, that's fine. But I would at least go ahead and throw a heart on there from yourself. And I've done that on mine too. And even if somebody calls you out on it, who cares? I mean, just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or ignore them or delete their comment. I mean, there's not really, you have so much control over it. It's fine. But like I said, I'd say 90% plus of the average consumer out there, so the average Facebook user, has no clue that there's actually a person behind that page. They don't put two and two together. It's just the way it is. I don't know how to explain that concept, but I've seen it in our society, in our news and everything. So I would not at all worry about that. Just make sure you monitor any negative comments and delete them. And when you find stuff like that, like, you might even want to go in there and put owner as a word that they can't put, owner, or something related to that as a word that they can't comment on, just to make it so you have less work on your end. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all. Yeah, I block profanity. I have the filter is like super high, and then I have a whole list of words they can't put in there, like spam and what was another one? Scam, spam, free, wish.com, I think is what it is. HTTP, www. I mean, there's a bunch. There's a whole list. We can always go into that, dive into that more if you guys start running into problems. Let's see here. So yeah, so on your personal page, yeah, we can try, Joanne. And that's what I was kind of hoping that we could do with our group, is get into that part. I'll be honest, Linda posts a lot, and I see them, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to do something, and then by the time my phone gets back to me, my little 5-year-old gives me back my phone. It's, I have to find it again, and I can't, and it's almost a nightmare. So if we figure out a way to maybe post in the group and say, hey, post the link into the group, since I have that pretty much full, we can all do whatever we want in there. If you link it, share the link into the group, and then we can go into the group once a day and go in there and share and click on them all. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Be a lot easier. So we'll have to figure out a way to do that. And maybe if I make you guys admins or something, we can just make like a single post, change the pin post. But like I said, once we get the members area up, I'm going to change that pin post anyway. I'm still working on the members area because it's actually extremely involved. And I've got it set up. I just have to get the content up there and blocked off. And as you guys know, I have had technological issues. Yeah, a daily reminder. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It was so funny because I totally forgot about my baker site for a while. I talk about it with you guys all the time, right? I totally forgot about it. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't posted something for like 3 days. What the heck? So I went in there, and I can schedule stuff. It's not like it's that hard. I have multiple software programs and everything. But I went in there and I was like, oh man, I haven't had any activity for days. I need to post some stuff. So I post it, forgot for a couple more days, posted again. I'm getting a ton of stuff. Yeah, see, I know, Linda, you do a lot of work. That's why I'm saying you might want a group, because you do so much work. But the page through 2, yeah, I know. I was doing that. I was actually working on that last night, but my husband found a virus on my computer. So yeah, going way through again. Yep. Yeah. Okay, let me get through the personal page so we can get onto live streaming and then Twitter real quick. So keep in mind that family and friends may not be very happy that you post about business stuff. And so when you post, there's 2 things you need to do. One, make sure you include the link, because that's the whole point of it, right? When you post on your personal page, you need to make it public. You need to make it a public post instead of just to friends. And that's because when you make it public, then it's actual public link going back, right? So Google can't see that if it's not public. They probably can, but they're not going to give you credit for it if it's not public. And you want all of your friends to be able to share it publicly and everything else. So set it to public so that they can share, and that there's nothing blocking it from making any movement. Because if we're going to piss off our family and friends, we want to make sure we get some movement with it, right? We got to have some sort of effort for this. So we want to make sure it's a public post, and that we're not necessarily asking them to buy it. Maybe you make the post on your page, share it to your personal page, and put a comment and say, hey everybody, this is really cool. And if you're okay making sure that people know that you own the company, which I don't care if people know that I own Bakers and Cake Makers, right? So I don't care. I'll put it on my page and say, hey, can you guys share this for me? We're trying to get some traction on this, or trying to spread the word, or whatever. And so as long as you're asking them to do something like that, they're like, oh, you're asking me to do something I do on Facebook all the time anyway. They're probably going to be okay with it. Yeah, we need money for food. Please spread the word. Oh my gosh. So I have a lot of family that has, for lack of a better word, their handout, right? They have their handout saying, what are you going to give me? And I started not following any of them. I told you guys of this. My friends and family, not my friends as much as my family, they have nothing good to say. In fact, most of my family they don't even post anymore on Facebook. But that's why Larry hated getting on. He's like, I don't want to get my own Facebook page. I'll just look at yours. Yeah, it's the generation. They're all younger, and they're all like, what's in it for me? And which always cracks me up. So I stopped following them for a long time. But my mother-in-law, she follows them all. She comes in, she goes, did you see blah, blah, blah? I'm like, yeah, I have them still liked on my page, But I'm like, I don't see any of their posts because I don't want to see what they say. So I just let her tell me and show me. I'm like, oh, wait, that one's a good one. Okay, she's a really good filter for me. But that's we want to avoid that, right? We want our friends and family to see our posts. So we don't want to ask them all the time for money, and we don't want to ask them all the time to buy stuff, but we can say, hey, you know what? We're trying to get our business going, or this is for a friend of mine, whatever it is, you know, if you want to. And the thing is that if it wasn't ours, we'd share it anyway, right? If we thought it was cool and we saw it in our post and it was somebody buying, even if we weren't buying it, we'd still share it. You don't have to say anything. You can just share it and go, this is so cool. What do you guys think? You know, or hey, spread the word on this. This is awesome. We need to make this go viral. Whatever. I mean, we would do that anyway if it was somebody else's post that was cool. So I go, why are we stopping and not doing it for our stuff? If we like it and we think it's a good idea, we should be sharing it. Now, if you're in testing mode, this is another way you can say, hey, if you're not scared of putting your face out there, if it's your company and you're willing to put your face in front of it and say, hey, this is my brand, this is my product, you know, put it out there and say, hey, I need your guys' help. Can you please vote on this for me? Right? And that's how you get your idea, you get your 4 designs or whatever out there, and you say, hey, you know, obviously use your page to do it, but if your page is smaller, use your friends and family. Say, hey, I really need your guys' help. Can you please help me with this? Vote on the design, share with it so I can get some feedback. You know, I'm really trying to narrow this down, whatever, you know, and it doesn't even have to be on a product. You can do the image without the product, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can still utilize your personal page. And then, of course, if you are posting about a product, make sure you put that link out there and make it public so you get some traffic back there. So that's your personal page. Live streaming. Now, you guys know live streaming is kind of weird, but live streaming is, Facebook's really trying to compete with YouTube. So you can actually live stream on your personal page, your business page, or even in a group. And if you live stream on your business page, and make it public, I think you might be able to do it on your personal page too, but you'll show up in Facebook's live feeds. So if somebody, which people do this, they'll just go, hey, I'm bored. Just like if I'm flipping through the channels on TV, right? I'm bored. I'm going to go on Facebook's live videos and see what's on right now. And in fact, I did that when I was doing the first one that didn't work. I did that, and I had some random stranger hop on my live feed because I showed up there. So I thought that was kind of interesting, that is a way that you can have people, just random people that have never even been exposed to you before. If you're doing a live feed, you can introduce them to something and that they will come back to you. Now, of course, this doesn't really work for all niches, but it can still, it can, I don't know what I meant by many can benefit, but can benefit many, I believe is what I meant. And my example is like in e-commerce, this isn't the easiest thing to do because typically you want to show off the product, right? So if you have the product and you're physically showing it to them, you have a webcam, maybe not the one that's on your laptop, but like a separate one. Like I have a product webcam that I could do this with if I had the right lighting. So what you do is then you put the product, you can have a live stream of the different products. There's actually a couple of groups I'm in that they do this. They do a live stream where they just show off products, like you're on JTV or HSN or something, right? So they're just showing off their products and getting people to buy them. I mean, and these are like one-off products. You know, there's a resale store that does this. And I was like, holy cow, this is actually a really good idea because people love that kind of stuff. They love that. There are the TV stations, they put that stuff on there in the evenings and late at night because people watch it, you know, and it's cheap. So people are like, oh, hey, you know, I'll do that. So people do browse these live feeds when they're bored, and it's a way to get, or when they're not bored, when they're just looking for information. And it's a real good way to bring in additional traffic. So again, not the easiest to do with e-commerce, but there is a way to do it. So you can use a webcam, which, by the way, oh, where do you find them? Let's see. I found this the other day when I was looking at it. So I just go into Facebook, I just type in Facebook Live into Google, and you can go to, so this is what it is, live.fb.com. And so literally they have an entire explore, right? Here's, wait, hold on, where's the find live? Some of our favorite live videos. How do I browse it? Let me go to Facebook. I think there's a section in here. I literally found it the other day. Yeah, so you can just see, you can just type in live stream and you can just see what all, there's actually a spot you can go in. The people who do this, who are here doing this, are very, very savvy about this. So you can, under the video section, it looks like you can do live. And these are 3 that are on right now that are live. Politics, CBS Los Angeles, multi-car crash on PCH in Malibu. I think that's actually a really, really bad spot to have a car wreck, by the way. And then Red Bull. So there's not much going on, and you don't have a lot of competition, do you? So if you put up something in there and somebody's interested in it, they're going to find you and they're going to go to, they're going to, check it out. They can like your page. You can do lots of stuff. So this is going to be, by the way, this is going to be one of those up and coming things that we see over the next year. Yeah. Last night I was really tired. I went to bed at 2 a.m. instead of like 5 a.m. and I had to force myself to stay up that late to get stuff finished. So, but yeah, I don't drink. I drink Diet Coke and that's it. The Red Bulls would make my heart race. Joanne, I think we're all kind of like in the same boat. We're all like the same type of workaholics. Okay, so let's see. In order to live stream, you need to have some sort of webcam. And I found this out kind of by accident. Like on my laptop, it's already built in, right? So I don't notice it. But even if you don't want to use your webcam, you can still choose the option for a computer screen, which is really new. By the way, I think they said October is when it came out. And it's great for showing, so that's great for showing software how-tos. That's like what I did the other day when I did the FB Live. I did my screen, right? But it wouldn't connect. It wouldn't give me the option until I plugged in the webcam. So you do need to make sure you have some sort of webcam connected to your computer in order to activate it. So that's just a tip. We're not going to go through it all. I just wanted to give you a tip. So the only negative I see to this is that Facebook literally controls this, right? So they might remove your feed or block you at some point if they don't like your content. Now, if you're in e-commerce and you're not showing off bad stuff, I don't think there's a problem with it. If you're in the internet marketing world, you're might have to be a little bit more careful, because if you're doing like affiliate marketing or you're promoting products that are sketchy, anything related to health stuff, don't do. Just don't even worry about it. Just hop over to YouTube instead. Now, of course, Facebook has, this is new for Facebook, so they're still setting up their rules and their controls and everything else. But if they're going to let politics fly on here and they're going to let news feeds, let people live stream accidents, I think that we're going to have some pretty good leeway on live streaming. It's just after the fact they may shut it down, or they may make you have to put some sort of, you have to go into some sort of station where you're like maybe just for adults or something. So there's a lot of different, there's a lot of mystery with this still. But because they're competing with YouTube, but this is way easier than YouTube Live, at least to get up and going. I got Facebook Live going in once I figured out what I was doing wrong, which was really simple. When I started my feed, because I did my screen, you can't show the same screen that you're looking at, right? So I'm seeing your guys' chat in one screen. So let's say that was Facebook Live. I'd have to open up a new tab to show what I want to show, or show something that's not in the tab that I'm in. That's the one thing I had to figure out. And that took like 5 minutes. Once I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then I was good to go. I haven't even sat down. I spent 5 or 10 minutes trying to figure out YouTube Live. And I was like, wait, you want me to embed a code where? I have to do what? And while I'm savvy enough, I'll be able to do it. It's going to take more work to get set up. So Facebook, if you're like, hey, yeah, I'm thinking about getting into the live feed stuff, both of them are good options because they have completely different audiences. But I would say start with Facebook because it's easier. So that would be my little thing on that. So that's just a little tip for getting some traffic there. And then, of course, we've talked about Facebook Messenger in the past, and you guys, we've used this. So you can send a private message to people who comment on your post within 24 hours of the comment. And that's for commenting only. If they're part of your subscriber, and if you have some sort of bot, some sort of software and subscriber, then you can still send them messages, non-marketing messages, after 24 hours. So we've talked about this extensively. So for the replay, if there's anybody that's listening to this and they're like, oh, wait, I've never heard of bots, we've got a whole bunch of videos on this. So just go through some of the replays and you'll find them. And I'll be posting additional supplemental videos as I work through the software programs I'm using and can show some strategy with them. But post questions to the group, and we're going to move on to Twitter. All right. Oops, I did not mean to do that. We're not to action items yet. So Twitter, I know, Linda, I believe it was you or maybe it was somebody else who was a little hesitant about Twitter. And I'm going to be honest here. Twitter is another one of those I thought was going to be a fad and went away. And I use it. I do use it. Okay, so Twitter is, so Twitter is basically a way that you can, I guess we should, I'll show you when we go to set up the account. But Twitter is where you can share your information, but it has to be in 140 characters or less. I believe that's the current number. That fluctuated a little bit. When you have a link or you have an image, it changes the count. So we'll look at that in a little bit more detail. But it's basically just a quick, what they call a tweet out to kind of update your status. And Twitter came out back when basically 24 hours letting people know what was going on. I mean, like, I'm in the bathroom. You could tweet that out, right? I mean, it was a joke back then when it came out. But there is a huge following of Twitter people. And so no matter what, no matter if you do nothing else, at least set up the account. And then what we'll do is figure out a way to, and I don't know if Trex can do this or not, but in WordPress, there are plugins that are free that we can have it so that every time we post something, it'll tweet out for us, or that we can click a button and it'll send it out for us. So unfortunately, because Trex is not standard WordPress and they're changing their platform, I'm a little hesitant to dive into that too much until we find out more about what their plans are for the future. But there are other software programs where once you build it, you can put it in there and schedule it and everything else. So there's a lot of different things. Yes, you build up followers the same way, but here's the thing, Linda, is that you don't have to have followers to tweet. You can tweet and it's a public tweet. Anything you do on Twitter is public. There's no way to make it private. People claim you can, but you can't. You cannot make it private. Anything you tweet out is public, and it will be. Google went ahead and back when Twitter started, they're like, no, the tweets are too small. We're not going to go ahead and index them in our searches, right? Well, Twitter was like, look, we're powerful. We've got a lot of followers. You just need to like get with the times here. And I don't know what it was, a behind closed doors conversation, so I don't really know what they said. But Twitter reached out to Google. They talked and somehow struck an agreement. And Google said, okay, we're going to start indexing tweets, which means that they look at the links, right? That means that for search engine optimization, you at least need to tweet out a link back to your product. If nothing else, if all you do is the keyword and the link, that's all it needs to be. Now, of course, if you're using software, it'll do a lot of this stuff for you. But again, we have to play with it to figure out what we can do. So you want to create and we're actually going to set this up, but we're going to create an account, and we want to create a profile where you have a link back to your site. Or this is the same concept with everything, for that matter, is that you want to link it back to where you want them to take action. So if it's to a discount place or whatever, and I'm going to tell you guys a really good example of, I just thought of this. I was looking at some survival sites. Don't ask. I was doing niche research for a specific task. And I was looking at these survival sites, and this one said, it said, sign up to test monthly gear. And I can guarantee you what they were doing is they're drop shipping from China, and they're doing a free just pay shipping. And so if all they're doing is, and that was their main call to action on that page, was sign up to get free gear. So now they get your email, and you can email them, every day about stuff. And then once a month, you're saying, oh, hey, here's our free offer this month. You just got to pay shipping. So even if it's if somebody's paying $5 to pay for the shipping, if they're drop shipping it from China, they're still making money on that $5 because it's probably a $2 item with free shipping from China. So I thought that was a really good idea to capture emails in an e-commerce environment. A little bit harder for us to do on Trex because we don't necessarily have anything for free that's from Trex, but that doesn't mean that we can't figure something out, right? We can find something that we can sell for free, plus that it's just a cost for us or something where they can sign up if they wanted to do a monthly one or something like that. Again, that strategy we can get into more as we dive into Trex specific stuff and our niche specific stuff. But that was an idea that I saw, and I was like, that would be good. So instead of sending it straight to alltimefinds.com, I would send it to alltimefinds.com/offer where they would sign up. That's not set up, so don't go there. But that's an example. So that's the bare minimum. We just create the account to create the link back to our site for search engine optimization, and then of course tweet out when we can. So ideally, you also include appropriate hashtags. I know. So Joanne, this is what I was talking about with Facebook, is that and I do think we need to still collect emails when we can, because we can do a lot with it. I don't necessarily think we need to send emails out to all of them, because I do think that there's kind of a shift away from email. However, there's always going to be, and you guys know I'm in Texas. So I have only lived in Texas I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary. And I'm sorry for you Texas people who are listening to this on the replay, because eventually somebody will listen to this and be like, Kim, you suck. But Texas is, and I don't know if enigma is right, but it is just a rainbow of culture here. And I don't mean Asian culture, Mexican culture. I don't mean that. I mean 1980s, 1990s, early 2000s. I mean, you go to a different community and they're all stuck in different decades. And I sit there and go, man, the mullet has not been around forever, though it is making a comeback in certain communities, I guess. But you go in Texas, you go to these places, and the one thing I learned when I moved here, the mullet, M-U-L-L, and mullet. Yeah, mullet. You know, it's business in the front, party in the back. And that could be, and again, that goes back to, there are generations that have held on to certain styles. Yeah, he had one. Yeah. So there are generations that stick to the certain styles. However, there are entire communities that are like that. So if you look around your community and you say, okay, hey, I'm live streaming here. I'm on a webinar. I'm giving a webinar here. Can you be quiet? Sandra, to be nice to grandma.
That was a message. Sarah, something about advertising.
Okay, I'll deal with it later. I gotta.
No, I mean,
go ahead and close the door, Cassandra. Thank you. I love you, baby.
Thank you. Oh,
Sorry. Oh, thank you, baby. Kiss. Okay, close my door, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know why that was random. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, so there are entire communities, and they stay with the technology they prefer. And I think as we get older, that tends to happen. And so people who were on MySpace are still on MySpace, right? I mean, it's weird because they've never left MySpace. And so if you want to find those people, you don't go to Facebook because they're on MySpace. Now, I don't know anybody who's on MySpace anymore, but that's the same concept, is that if people are exposed to something, Craigslist is a really good example. There are people who will only buy stuff off of Craigslist. I kid you not, and especially in my community. Now, we are huge, right? Our Metroplex is like 9 million people when you consider Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, and the surrounding areas. It's like 9 million people or something like that. So we have a ton of people. And the one thing I've learned is that there is no one way to reach them all. You can't go to television. You can't go to newspapers. There's no one way to reach them all. So it's the same concept with social media, is that you have to be on all of these platforms so people can find you. And then what we'll do is that we'll go ahead and fine tune which ones are our specific audience is at the most. And like I said, so, we'll talk about Pinterest later on, but there are people specifically on Twitter that only do stuff because it's on Twitter. So if we need to make sure we're on there so somebody can find us. Even if they never find us, we get the link back for search engine optimization. So the hashtags, though, now hashtags are a completely different world. And this is where we may have to expand more on this, because that is a concept in and of itself. But I'm going to show you guys a resource real quick. And it's called tagdef.com. And this is a free resource. So this is the reason why I pulled this one up. Everything else, if you want to get hashtags, and the hashtag is like this, literally, it's the pound sign. I don't know how it turned into hashtag. I don't know. I understand that it's a hashtag, but my mom, she bought a shirt for my daughter and it said hashtag awesome. So it had this number sign. She goes, I don't understand what a number awesome means. Sorry if that was you guys too, but I started laughing hysterically. I'm like, Mom, it's hashtag awesome. And she's like, what's a hashtag? So I'll tell you, a hashtag is a search term, right? It's a keyword. So it just doesn't have the spaces. So here are some that are, in fact, let's refresh this because this is live, right? So trending on Twitter, Wednesday wisdom, selfie for whatever that is. And you can actually, I think, let's see if you can. So they'll tell you like definitions for them. Now these are voted on, right? So these are voted on. But if you go into Twitter and you look at the hashtag, like you can search by hashtags. So let's say we're going to look at this hashtag. And you can search by the hashtag and it'll pull up people who are putting that hashtag in there. So what's neat about that is that if you can find a hashtag that's related to your topic, your category, your post, whatever it is, then you can put the hashtag in there, and when other people are hashtagging, it gets lumped in and they can even get recommended and everything else. So putting those hashtags in is a good idea when we want to start driving traffic. But again, like I said, this is like step 2. Step 1 is just getting on Twitter. You do hashtags, Joanne? Maybe you need to do a hashtag lesson for all of us. Yeah, you should. If you're good, if you feel like you're good at hashtags and you have a good concept of them, because they're also used in Instagram, I would love to have you do something for the group and teach us a little bit about hashtags. Okay, so are you doing them in Facebook ads? Okay, yeah, you're wasting your time if you're doing it in Facebook ads. Sorry, Facebook doesn't actually recognize the hashtag yet. So you might want to save yourself a step, unless you do them in Instagram. If you put it in Instagram, it's necessary. But for some reason, Facebook doesn't like it doesn't, I don't say like, it does not like don't like, it's just that they don't really recognize the hashtag yet. It's not part of their platform. So it might be helping, it might not, but I doubt it, because in the group, you can, I would test it if you have time to split test it, or you want to, do one with and one without and see which one does better. And that's the only thing you switch, right? That's the only thing you change. So that was what you'd have to do to split test. But to be honest, everything that I read and all of the training from the ads, from Facebook ads that I've seen, says don't bother putting hashtags in there, because the Facebook algorithm, it's like wigs it out. And I don't know what that means. They gave a really good explanation of it. They basically said that the Facebook platform wasn't built with hashtags in mind. So until they do that update, it's going to be like kind of iffy. So people, and people don't search by hashtag on Facebook. So yeah. Yeah, I think it'll still be shown if you're still going to keep the keyword in there, because here's what happens is in Facebook, right? I don't even know if you can search by a hashtag in there. Let's see. Not really. So there is a Wednesday. So look at what it's doing. It's not even pulling the hashtag. It's pulling the actual keyword there. So it's identified that that's the keyword, and it's pulling by it. So even if you search by it, it's not necessarily this. Facebook isn't as savvy to okay, yes, it's there, but people aren't using it. So it's going to be the exact same thing as if you didn't have it. So it's up to you. It probably shouldn't matter one way or the other. But from what they said in the ads, they said unless you're doing it on Instagram ads, that you have to do it in Instagram ads. But we'll talk more about that when we get to Instagram. So let's close that for a second. All right, so let's see. So this is where you can put in stuff. So let's do, Linda, let's do yours. Goal, right? Let's see what comes up. Ooh, that was funny. Oh, it needs an English definition. Dang it. I was just playing with this, so we'll have to see. There's no spaces. Let's see what this one is. That's kind of funny. Sorry, I'm not really a political person, but that's kind of funny. That's actually got a hashtag for it. So you have to kind of get creative with it, but typically it's just a keyword. So you can put in any keyword, even if it's not in tag def. This is just to help you get some ideas. Ooh, we can add a definition for it. Super awesome page for Pitbull fun. And so look, but this is what this is. This is an open source place to define hashtags. So what I like about this, and this is my idea when I saw this, was that when you see the trending, if you see this, boost your points. Oh, this is if you want to get, it's weird. Like I said, this is a community to define the hashtags. That's what they do. But you can see popular now and trending on Twitter. So what I would like to do, I would like to try, you can, Linda, you can have it be, you wouldn't put .com in it, because that won't show up because the dot doesn't show up. But you could do like all-time finds, right? That's actually a really bad one because I'm sure other people use it. But yeah, so you could do whatever and you can make your own hashtag. So if people search for that, then they can still find it. So you can do that, or you can do what it's about. So like, oh, actually, I should have probably kept that open for a second. So if we go on to Twitter, we can search this, and we're going to say, let's do, everything comes up. So this is a Pitbull Terrier Pitbull shirt. That's what they have. So they have Pitbull shirt, right? So you could do that too. And you can do multiple of them, obviously. So Pitbull Lover. So here we go. They've got the Etsy link, and they've got all the different categories that it's in. Here's one. Show me this Pitbull shirt, Pitbull Mom. And that Pitbull Mom, that's a keyword Pitbull Mom shirt is actually a keyword that we've identified too. So that's you can go through and see what others are doing and, borrow theirs, because if hashtags are not, unless you're going to do, even if you did hashtag Target, it doesn't matter. Target can't do anything about that. So I don't know which one you're saying you're not doing, but okay. So anyway, so that's how you can get some ideas, right? And then let's go back. We're going to actually come back to Twitter in a second. So include a link to your site or your opt-in page in your bio. That's going to be the number one thing. So you need to keep some sort of link back for the search engine optimization for that link juice, right? That vote. And then use a search feature to find people looking for your offer. So we've talked about this before. So this is actually two different things. Let's stop there. So this one, right? This one right here is a separate thing that we've talked about before. So we're going to set up our account and we're going to use it. But the other thing that we can do with Twitter is we can, like we're searching for here. Let's say if somebody said, and this is a lot harder to do, by the way, but you can do this. And we use this one in real estate. So looking for a house, right? Now that could easily be, are you looking for a house? But theoretically, if you can find the search terms, you can go scroll through and find somebody and then reach out to them. So my mom's looking at a house for me today. Now, if we were on February 6th and we were in this area, which you can actually narrow it down, and we were a real estate agent, then why do people swear on this? I swear. Anyway, then we might reach out to them and say, hey, I heard you're looking for a house, blah, blah, blah. And then why am I addicted to looking at houses for sale on Zillow? And then this was, I'm not even trying to buy a house anytime soon. And then you could, if I were a real estate agent, and say, hey, you know what, if Zillow doesn't have all of the houses, if you're addicted, try my site, right? Even though they're not looking right now, who cares? When they are looking, if they're looking on my site, they're going to find me. So it's the same thing as that. You can use this to find leads, essentially. It is very time consuming to do it manually. And even the software that's out there is really difficult because, again, you have to know what people are saying. So there's a lot of learning to that part, but that is one way that you can also drive traffic and get leads. So now let's actually set up a Twitter account, and then we'll talk about our action items. So I'm going to go back to twitter.com. and I'm going to sign up. Now, obviously, I have a bunch of them that come up, but I'm going to say sign up, and I'm going to do, I said I'm going to do this, but now I'm a little worried because I don't know if I can get into my email at the time. We'll see if I have to. So phone or email, so I'm going to say Kim@leadgenerate.com. generationsource.com, and then I have no idea. There we go. I'm not going to do this personalized Twitter based on where you've seen your Twitter content on the web, because I don't know what that's going to do, and I want to control my content, right? Because I want to try to get content that's closer to my topic. That's fine. That's fine. So I'm going to skip this for now. Yeah, and you can use your website name. That's fine. Yeah, there are no hard rules on here. So I'm gonna go lead gen source. Okay, look at lead gen source is there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that one. You can choose a username, and of course that relates to my lead generation source site. And then I'm gonna say let's go, and you have to go through all of this, right? So I'm gonna go into, can I look for business? Marketing. Social media. What do I need to do? What are you interested in? Okay, I'm just going to do those 3 and see how many it makes me do. I'm not going to import any of my contacts, because of course remember that they're doing this for more than anything. But and then of course I don't really care who I'm following right now, so I'm just going to say follow 37 to continue. I'm going to say not now. You can get Twitter notifications. This is completely up to you. You can read it as you're going through. So it's nice that you're jumping around the screen there, buddy. This is new. This timeline is where you spent. Yeah, I know that. So I'm going to say skip all. You can add a photo. And then what you really want to do is you want to get into your profile, right? So you're going to go here and go edit profile. And you can put a header, and here's your bio, right? And this is exactly where you put your website link, right there. So you can customize whatever you want to do. Add a picture. It doesn't have to be your face. Okay, it can be your brand, it can be whatever. And you don't have to have your name. In fact, this was a big thing for a while ago. It was there was somebody that was on Twitter, and he was under you know, whatever fake name that he used. It wasn't even a name. It was just like a super duper guy, whatever. I mean, it was anonymous, whatever. You know, he had his name, it had some name on there. It could be your website name, exactly. It could be anything. And the guy had his name. It was whatever his pseudonym is that he runs with online that he hides behind. And he was making threats against the president. This was back under President Bush, the second President Bush, because the first one didn't have Twitter. And they had to go and get a warrant and to get Twitter to give them the guy's real name, so the Secret Service could give him a what for. And of course, you know, the guys all talk, of course, but that's because you don't have to have your public name on here. Twitter is not, they are all about privacy and freedom of speech and blah, blah, blah. So obviously, because they let everybody say whatever they want with swearing. And so you don't have to have your name. You can have your business name. You can do whatever. Now, I encourage, of course, once you get to the point where you like your company and you're ready to put your name on it, I do encourage you putting your name on it. And the reason why is because people, for the most part, you know, they'll go into Walmart and they'll buy something because Walmart's huge and massive and there's a big brand. But if you're a small brand and nobody knows you, they are going to be more likely to purchase from you when they know who you are and they like you, right? Or even if they don't like you, they're just like, okay, well, yeah, this person's at least honest. I'm going to go ahead and buy from them, whatever they decide on. Now, of course, there's the pitfall to that as well, is that somebody could not like you just as easily and not buy from you just because of that as well. But all the numbers show that having a face, you know, I mean, they do that with spokespersons, right? You get a nice spokesperson for a company, and they pick them out specifically to make it so that it improves their ability, you know, their perception, rather than make it bad. So you don't want to pick somebody who's, you know, the KKK leader if you're going to be a religious group. You're like, okay, there's standards to that. So it's the same thing with our small companies, is that when we get to the point we're ready to put our face to our business, that is something that could help us improve. Now, we don't want to sell just on our face, because that's not a good business foundation. So testing out our products and getting to sell without it being our name attached to it and everything is not a bad way to go to get started, because if you can build that foundation, that's a sellable entity. If it's attached to your face, it's not a sellable entity, at least not legally. So anyway, so you can go in here, you can fill all this stuff out. I think you can put your birthday. I don't think it's required, but you can do whatever you want to do in here. Oh, okay. Then yeah, Joanne, if it's linked to Twitter, definitely keep the hashtags on there. So yeah, if it's linked, definitely. So anyway, so you can go through here, add what you want to do, and then when you're ready to start, hold on, baby, I'm still doing this.
I want to say goodbye to you.
Okay, you go with Grandma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, Mommy.
Bye, baby. I'll see you in a little bit. I love you.
Bye, love you too. Bye.
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 So you can go in and start. I think you may have to, before you can send out a tweet, you have to confirm your email address. But otherwise, you can go in and send your, oh, no, guess not. You can write your own. So here, just setting it up my Twitter. Hello, Twitter. You can do whatever you want. And of course, they're showing you to do the hashtags. So this is, you're ready to go after you've done that. Yeah, so there's a lot, Linda, if you get the one that they're talking about, there's a bunch of them that are out there. Like I can use Webfire to do it, but Hootsuite is one that I used to use, and I didn't like them as much. It wasn't as user-friendly as I liked, which is why I was happy to switch over to Webfire when I had Webfire. There are several of them that are out there, and and WordPress itself has several different integrations that are out there, several different plugins that will integrate so that when you create it, it just blasts out for you. Yeah, the one I use is Webfire, and then of course I play around with. I haven't used one on Trex. I use one on one of my sites. Well, I use Webfire. I just schedule it all in there. And the reason why I use Webfire is because it does something. You have to test, Linda. Unfortunately, that's the problem, and I spent an hour and a half the other day testing the schema plugin in greater depth, and it doesn't work with it. So even though it goes on the site and it's compatible with it, like as in it pretends to work, it doesn't actually do anything. And that's because they built even though they built it on WordPress, they built it outside of the normal sections of WordPress. They basically built their own shopping cart, if you will. And because of that, it's not, the plugin's pulling from information that doesn't exist. And that makes some plugins work and some that don't work. Even the Webfire plugin doesn't work on it. Nothing does. So I have figured out a way around that for a lot of stuff. Well, Hootsuite, you can get started with Hootsuite for free, right? Hootsuite, Hoot, H-O-O. Well, I mean, it's free though. That's why it's a pain. I'm sure. I even actually had the paid version for a while, and I decided that I didn't like the fact that it had Hootsuite attached to every single post, and but they have a free one. They have you can do 3 social profiles, so you can do like your Facebook page, a Twitter one, and what else do they integrate with on the free level? Oh, well, regardless, WordPress though, WordPress plugin for posting to social media. There is one that was in here that's a plugin. Is it Blog2Social? Might be this one. And when you look at, because eventually you have to pay for something if you want something good. It's on my laptop. I'll have to pull it up. It looked really good, and I had platforms I've never even heard of. Right? They've got all of these different ones. So I think this is the one that is Blog2Social. I can't remember what their pricing is. Go to their actual page. Yeah, I know. WordSwag's super cheap for what they do, by the way. And it's because it's Snap. But I love WordSwag. I'm so addicted to it. So this one is, let's see, pricing on it. They have 3 versions maybe. Yeah, so here we go. So look at all these networks, these social media networks, right? Look at this, groups. If you get to this level, which of course is a monthly cost, they have here. So they have, I don't translate euros, but euros, it's probably more than $100 a year then. And then they have looks like they have a monthly rate. So, but groups, there's not hardly anything that can post into groups. Yeah, so yes, you are correct that tweets have to be under a certain character count, and then Facebook, it doesn't. But if you keep it shorter on Facebook, more people are going to see. So anyway, this is where I look at it going, well, you know, for $100 a year, that's way cheaper than Hootsuite, by the way. Hootsuite plans are, if you want to get to, I think it's, here's 10 social profiles, unlimited scheduling for one user is still $19 a month. But anyway, those are just some things, and we can work on playing with some of them and testing them out and see what works. Like I said, because that most of us right now are dealing with the Trek stuff, it's going to take, there's a lot more learning curve with it. I'm hoping that with their new platform that comes out, they said June, right? So I'm hoping that when it comes out, that they'll have something improved with that and make it a lot easier, because obviously everybody who's in that, doing that, they're aware that there's a need for it. So hopefully they'll have something that's built in or something that'll be compatible with it. So anyway, so that's basically what you do to get onto Twitter. And then once we're to the point, once you set up the account and everything, and that's where we're at, we're going to stop at that point. So if your action items, right? We all have business pages, but for the replay, if you don't have a business page, you need one, and your action item is to start it. Just to set it up and get it going. Second action item, this is for all of us, is to determine if a group is good for your niche. So that doesn't mean you have to set up a group. That just means you need to go through the actions of checking to see if there are other groups. And if there are other groups, then you should join some and see how they work and how much work they are. The other thing is that if there are no groups for your niche, don't even think about starting it, because if there's not a group for your niche, there's a reason why. Most likely because it's either a pain to monitor or because there's just nobody who wants to be in a group in that niche. And that's okay, because like I said, not everybody's in the same place. You know, people who shop on Amazon don't shop on Craigslist. It's very rare. The people on Craigslist are probably not shopping on Amazon. So if we want to reach the people who are going to buy our stuff, we have to find them. And that's okay. It's just gonna be a little bit of, you know, figuring it out. So look to see if there are groups on Facebook, and determine if that's something that might fit into your plans. You know, see if that's something that you might be able to do. Brainstorm ideas for Facebook Live. This, even if you don't want to do Facebook Live, say I have no intention of doing Facebook Live ever. I don't care. I want to hear I want to see some ideas in our group, and the reason why is because just because you don't want to do it doesn't mean you can't partner up with somebody else who wants to do it. And here's the thing, is that if we all only have one product and we do a Facebook Live, maybe we say, hey, well, I'll send you my product if you're going to do the Facebook Live, and then you help me, we partner together and do that, whatever we decide. So brainstorm some ideas for Facebook Live and see if it will work for your niche. And what, you know, obviously e-commerce, the best one would be the actual product, but somebody's pranking me. So, and then, you know, keep in mind, you can drive traffic by simply having a live stream up randomly. You know, if we find a good time, that right now would have been great to have a live stream and have people coming in, because there was no competition. So if there's something that, and who knows if there's just nobody on live stream, then it doesn't matter. But the idea is that you, oh, thanks, Linda. We'll talk to you later. You've got your to-do Twitter account. So the idea is, though, is that if we can get those ideas out and we can start working on them and see if we can fit that in. And again, if it's not something you get to anytime soon, at least it's something you have on your potential marketing list for driving traffic. Next one is create your Twitter account. You don't have to do a ton of tweets or anything else. Just create the account, get the backlink there, and then if you throw out your first tweet just to familiarize yourself with it. And then start thinking about ways, look up how you can share your content. Because we're using Trex, we're going to have significant challenges. But, Joanne, like you said, you've got something that you can do. And so that would be, you might go, okay, hey, what else can I do with that? And of course, there's lots of software programs, and we'll talk more. Like I said, I use Webfire, and that's also because I can recycle my posts. So like for EP Laser, I can just post it out all the time, the same stuff over and over again, and it tweets out for me automatically. And that's just for the backlinks. I don't even use hashtags yet because I haven't gotten in there and fixed them. So that's it. If we have any questions, I know we've already run over. So if we have any questions, let's bring them into the group. And I think we've got some good action items for now. Joanne, you might be a little ahead since you're using Twitter, so you might want to go in and no, I have not tried it yet, Joanne. I just was looking at it last night because I had a different one that integrates with it, and it crashed like 6 months ago, and I haven't looked for a replacement because I haven't been posting that much. And I was like, well, I better look for a replacement. And since I was using Webfire for most of the stuff, so I really want to try that Blog2 social though. It looks really good. So I was like, oh, but I have my suspicions it's not going to work on Trex, but it'll work on my other sites. So that's one I'm probably going to look at. And then another one I was going to look at was there's a guy that I bought something through, and he sells something, a plugin that does that. And I was going to check out his and see what his is. I can't remember his name or the plugin name, so I got to look both those up. But yeah, so that's what I think. If you guys have any feedback coming back in, into the group, you can go into K&K for that stuff because we're the only ones on right now. But on the replay, come on, hop into Lead Generation Source, and eventually we'll get our membership area up and running. And if you haven't joined that, you'll definitely want to do that. Yeah, so I'm going to try a couple of Facebook things and hopefully not get banned. But that's the goal is, we want to try to get stuff that attached. Facebook should let you post stuff. But I don't know, but I know they don't like automation in groups for sure, but they don't mind automation on your page. I mean, they give you an opportunity to schedule stuff, so it's not like they care that much. But I know the Trex argument is that, oh yeah, if you use anything besides Facebook, it's going to make your natural organic search obsolete. I don't know how accurate that is though. So that's where I'm like, well, we're just going to have to test. And especially if they're going to lower our reach anyway, we need to make that a little bit more effective for us. So Facebook knows that. They'll come around if they haven't already. I'm sure that there's some ways around their nuances, but I think that Facebook's really starting to hop into the whole business thing. In fact, I was going to show you guys this when I went, let's see, if I go to, I thought this was interesting because I was in my baker's site because I was goofing off. Hold on, I saw you posted. I just want to get into this real quick and I'll show you. Wait, so off topic, what is more important, the image name or the alt text for the image? Honestly, that is a test I don't think anybody's ever done because as long as you get it in there once. Oh, wait, yeah, I still need to contact them about that because there's no reason why we can't load our own image then. Because here's the thing with, well, let me show you this real quick, then I'll go back to that. So if I go into my inbox here, right, and I don't have messages I haven't checked, so I don't know what the deal is, but it's got the automated messages. But look right here. Want to start conversations with more customers? Create promotion. And that's a messenger thing. This is messenger inbox. So obviously they're really ramping up to get ready to use Messenger for marketing. I thought that was interesting because, that's probably why they have the rules, why you can't market to somebody after 24 hours, because they want you to pay for marketing. So I thought that was very interesting because I was like, that just supports the whole idea that they are putting more resources into Messenger and getting their the bots are going to be a major player and everything else. So I saw that and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. So let me go in here and let me show you something. Now, this is why I think they can't change the images. And this is where I think that they are treating us as the lowest common denominator. And I mean that in a nice way because they're just trying to answer the question in the simplest way. But for us, when we go in and we create up here, and we go in and we create a product, right? We get this image. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to edit this one. And that image is already in there. Oh, I'm in my visual. So right here, this product background image, I think this is what they're talking about. And that's because they upload from Printex and you take it from here. Well, there's no reason why we can't take this image, rename it, and upload our own. And then it would be our own name. So the fact that they can't change it they can't change these is fine. But what we should do then is go in and steal these and rename them to what we want and rename it as many times as we want. So every time we just have to load it new every single time. Now, I haven't tried that, and since they told you that they can't be renamed, it makes me wonder why, but I think that's what they meant, is if you use this upload from Printex one, it can't be renamed. So you'd have to use your own image. But like I said, there's no reason why we can't use this image because they're not using the image, right? They're looking at this water bottle white, and then they're taking the image, whatever image we load. So we should be able to just yoink this, rename it, put it in there, and it should work then. That it should be, because that's the image name it's pulling. So that's what I think I'm going to have to test sooner rather than later, is if we can do that. There's a lot of testing that goes into this. That's the one depressing thing about it. Yeah, I think what happened with the answer you got, Joanne, I think was the lowest common denominator. I don't want to have, it's too hard to explain to you what to do and then answer more questions. So they just say it can't be done. Because remember, they're focusing all of their energy right now on their new platform. So they don't want to fix this platform. They want to go to the new platform, which makes sense because this one is unfixable, in my opinion. And I mean, I think it's usable. It's just not fixable. So I think that's what you'd have to do, Joanne. And that's honestly, I think you can. I think they just told you the lowest common denominator answer. Because I'm looking at this going, you know, they're not using this image. And as long as I'm not linking it to this upload from Printex, I should be able to upload my own image. So that's my opinion on it, and I'm pretty sure it's correct. Because I wouldn't give it if I didn't think that, right? Anyway, I was going to make my daughter a water bottle. She's allergic to the world, and so she can't drink out of water fountains. So when she goes to dance class tomorrow, I won't get there in time, but I was thinking about making her a nice, lovely one that had her name on it or something. Because that's what they said. Put your name on it. It'll be fun. And I said, well, why don't we get you a nice one and we'll decorate it and put a pretty picture on it or something. But the thing is, she's into everything, so I don't know what to put on it. Butterflies or flowers or I don't know. So I'll have to ask her, see what she's into right now. So anyway, Joanne, I think you are definitely ahead of a lot of people. And so if you think you have hashtags down or any other topic for that matter, I would love to, for lack of a better term, share the spotlight. This doesn't have to be all me. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, I got to go find her because she went home with Grandma and she was yelling at Grandma. She's not being good, huh? All right. Thanks for coming, Joanne. I really appreciate you guys coming on. We got a few people here who are definitely dedicated to their site. So, okay. Well, Joanne, I mean, I'm not an expert either. And I share the knowledge I have that I know, okay, this works. Obviously, we know enough. So if you have any information about hashtags, I'm sure people would be happy to hear from you. And just, let me know and I'll have you come on with me now that I fixed the freaking platform. I couldn't read my microphone. It was weird. Anyway. Okay, so I'll see you. Talk to you. Well, see you. I don't know how that works if I can't hear you guys. Is it talking? I will talk to you, but you will not talk to me. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, have a good night. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you in the group. And like I said, you're more than welcome to come on with me. And we will talk more in the group. Have a great night.